Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. It's Barcelona versus Manchester United. It's the Champions League second leg game. Destiny awaits. Magic can happen. 20 years on from Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer making history in the new camp. Can they do it again tonight? A link is in the video description if you're here for the match reaction. But this is live. This is real. And this is where it begins. And we will see what's going to happen with Manchester United tonight. You know what? How I feel at the moment is quite relaxed. There's no team news yet. I haven't seen that team news yet. Some people are saying it is out. I haven't actually seen it, but I'm only looking on Twitter. So maybe there is a team that's come out, but I haven't seen it yet. Oh, it is coming now. De Gea, Jones, Lindelof and Smalling, Young, Fred, McTominay, Pogba, Lingard, Martial and Rashford. Right, okay. That, to me, looks like we're playing Phil Jones at right back over Delo. I can't see that is a back five. Trying to get grasp of this. Phil Jones at right back. We're done, says Anonymous. I think I would go with you with that. Not that we're done, but it looks to me like Phil Jones is playing at right back. I'm going to have to change the team because that was my predicted lineup on the right-hand side of me. Obviously, the team news has just come in now. We can confirm, obviously, it's De Gea in goal. Phil Jones looks like he's going to be playing at right back. And we've got the midfield that I think many of us wanted, with McTominay and Fred and Pogba, so I think that's a positive. I really thought that Matic might come back in. And then the front three is Lingard, Rashford and Martial, which is the front three that we want to see. So that's encouraging. Again, I wasn't too sure that he would go with that starting three lineup up front, so I'm pleased with that as well. So, but Phil Jones starting is a bit odd, really, isn't it? I think that's really weird. I really do. You've got to wonder what Diogo Dalot has done wrong for Manchester United. He seems to be the player that steps in whenever we've got injuries and idiots getting themselves suspended. And then in the biggest game at the new camp, he goes and pulls Phil Jones out of the hat and plays him, which is really weird. I never saw Phil Jones coming in as a fullback, which is why I'm trying to figure out if there is any other way that this team could work. Just reading it out, I've just got to change. That's the predicted lineup on my left-hand side. Don't take that as read. I've just got to change that. But the team that has come in is De Gea, Jones, Lindelof, Smalling, Young, McTominay, Pogba and Fred, and Lingard, Martial and Rashford, which I think, I'm pretty happy with that team, to be honest with you, apart from the Phil Jones decision, which to me just seems a little bit odd. But maybe there's some method to the madness there, because, as I say, I don't really understand why you would remove Diogo Dalot from the team. I personally wouldn't even have bloody. I wouldn't personally have Ashley Young in the team. So it's interesting, it really is. But I'm just changing the team around for you now. So no Matic, McTominay plays, which I think will please a lot of people. And I think we will see Fred, won't we? Probably Fred playing in the more holding position. If we get this right, so there we go. McTominay and Fred would swap, and then McTominay there, and no place for Ander Herrera, of course. So that's the right starting lineup. Let me get this for you. Export, desktop, Mac Jones. Export, save. This is the shit thing about being live, is that I have to obviously get the right information up for you, which is correct. So I want to get the right information for you, but I want to actually settle down and talk about the team with you. Okay, so that's the lineup. Smalling, Young, Fred, McTominay, Pogba, Lingard, Rashford, Martial. There's the lineup. Confirmation. So let's open up the debate. On the bench, you have got Ashley Young, captain again. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Bag of shit player walks straight back into the team and takes the captain's armband. Ridiculous. And again, this is not on Ashley Young. This is on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I'm afraid. I'm a massive fan of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer being the manager of Manchester United, but I'm not a massive fan of the selection of Ashley Young. I think he's useless, and I don't understand why he gets the captain's armband. But on the bench, you've got Romero, Delo, Andres Pereira, Matic, Mata, Alexi, and Lukaku. So I don't rate that bench much, to be honest with you. Mata's been crap for a long time. Alexis Sanchez has been crap for a long time. Lukaku's been crap for a long time. Matic has been crap for a long time. So Delo and Andres Pereira, I'll give them a fair ride. But you see what people like Mason Greenwood are doing in the youth setup at the moment, and then you see some of these players that we've got getting into match day squads every bloody game. It defies logic. But Phil Jones playing. Jones in to do a job on Messi, says Andrew Staunton. No youth on the bench, says James Prescott. No, all of it left behind. Lingard right wing back, says Man United. You know what? I've got to say, I don't think we'll play a 4-3-3. Maybe Delo bad defence if we need to defend a lot, says Queen in the North. But contradiction, Queen in the North there, because both Jones and Young are bad defensively as well. I mean, a lot of people will be concerned that we're playing the Chuckle Brothers, Jones and Smalling, against one of the best attacks in the world. But let's hope it works. But I'm not. I don't know what you lot think. I am not convinced that we're playing a 4-3-3. I think there's going to be some weird change. Maybe we will use maybe we will use Delo as a... Not Delo. Maybe we will use Lingard as a right wing back. Maybe... I mean, that's the only one who could get into it. I'm just trying to see if we're going to play a back five, really. It looks like it has to be a 4-3-3, doesn't it? It looks like it's got to be a 4-3-3. But a few people thinking that maybe it will be Lindelof as a right back. But 3-4-3, says Marty. 3-4-3, could that work? 3-4-3. I don't think 3-4-3 is what we're going to play. Could be a 4-3-1-2, says it's Zach. 4-4-2 like in Paris. I actually don't know, to be honest. Is that the actual starting lineup, says Aidan Ricks? Yeah, so the team on my left is the team that has been selected, which is De Gea in goal, Jones, Smalling, Lindelof and Young, Fred, McTominay and Pogba, Lingard, Rashford and Martial. I mean, look, if this, the one thing I would say is, look, this is a bonus game in some ways. Of course I want us to win. Do I expect us to win? I'm not going to write it off, but I think we are underdogs. I think we would accept that. But if this was the team, if we were, remember when we did quite well in January, February, if we'd gone into a game in January, February with that lineup, I would have moaned. It's not a strong United team. The back four is weak, and there's reasons for that. People like Phil Jones are in it, but also Ashley Young's in it. Luke Shaw is suspended. Eric Bailly just hasn't materialised into the centre-back that we wanted him to be, and I think he's injured as well. You look at the midfield three of Pogba, Fred and McTominay. I think most of us would have gone Matic, Herrera and Pogba, but they're not fit or they're out of form. But the front three is the front three that we want to see, and that's the thing that excites me a bit about today the most, is that we are getting to see that front three, although it is woefully out of form. I like the fact that he's done that. I wasn't expecting him to do it. And Jamie Alex says that's the potential in this team. The formation is 4-3-2-1 confirmed, says Dyer. I don't listen to any bollocks about confirmed formations, because where have you had it confirmed from then? Has Ole Gunnar Solskjaer rang you up, Dyer, and said that's the formation? Because how many times have we been sat here before games and BT have said this and Sky have said that and MUTV have said this, and none of them are right. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to stick with the 4-3-3. Which I'm sure will be very adaptive. But I've got to say, the only issue I've got with that starting lineup before we start is that I'm disappointed that Delo is not starting and that Phil Jones has been brought in. I think that Delo is 19 and has the potential to be very, very good and has stepped up to the plate for us in recent weeks. You look at who's come in: Ashley Young, 34 and finished. Phil Jones consistently messes things up, and here we are in a big game and we're going back to the same old Deadwood when we should be looking forward, and Delo should have started the game for me, but hopefully it'll work. And what I would say about Manchester United is, Matt has said it himself, when you put that Manchester United shirt, anything is possible. Now I think what he was saying is that we can go and win tonight. The way I read that is anything is possible. This United team could turn up and beat Barcelona tonight. No one expects it to. It could do. But like at the weekend, it can also put the United shirt on and get played off the park by West Ham at Old Trafford. Anything is possible in that shirt. Of course it is. And that has been the problem with United. But if they can't get up for this game, then there's a big problem, isn't there? There is a big problem with that team, and they've got to go out there and put in a performance for us tonight. So let's see what happens with it. Ignore the losses and the wins underneath the team names. I haven't updated those. That's my mistake. But thanks everybody who actually does read them, because nobody ever seems to mention them. But I've got them wrong today, so I did it on purpose. We've got a few members in the house. Richard Briscoe says Ollie's at the wheel in the pink boots. I was just going to say that. The emoji that could do well tonight is the pink boots, because Phil Jones actually starts. Ollie's at the wheel. We've got the shark emoji as well. Suarez is back in town. He's back on the emoji list. If you want access to the exclusive United Stand emojis, you need to become a member, which you can do by clicking the join button. Or there's a link in the video description. You also get your name in green, and you get a badge for every month that you're a member, progressing all the way through to the Platinum 3-star badge. But the first month is the United Stand FC badge. So sign up as a member of the United Stand, support the channel, and you'll get access to the emojis, of which we've got all sorts. But we've definitely got pink gloves, pink boots, Ollie's at the wheel, Pogba. We've got the shark, as Paminder's seen there. I love the shark. I like the shark emoji. Just I don't like who it represents. It's Suarez, isn't it? But yep, you can join, and if you do join, it gives you a little shout out on the live comments, and which means I have to shout you out, because if anyone makes a contribution, then that's what we do. I think Herrera is. We got the Jurassic Park, Richard Briscoe as well. Yeah, we've got the Jurassic Park emoji as well. Let's hope that we're not seeing any more of that. Barcelona lineup, good question. You do sort of get locked up in your own team for a while, don't you? And let's have a look at the Barcelona lineup for you. Barcelona lineup with Ter Stegen, Piqué, Rakitic, Sergio, Coutinho, Arthur Suarez, Messi, Longley, Alba, and Roberto. So pretty much the same team as last week, isn't it? Coutinho, Suarez and Messi is the front three. Arthur and Busquets and Rakitic is the midfield three. Piqué and Longley centre-backs. Ter Stegen in goal, and Sergio and Roberto as the... it's not Sergio. Roberto and Alba as the fullbacks. So more or less the same team as last week for Barcelona. But Manchester United's confirmed lineup, as I say, on the right-hand side or left-hand side, depending how you're looking at it. De Gea, Jones, Lindelof, Smalling and Young. Fred, McTominay, Pogba, Lingard, Martial, Rashford. The bench is Romero, Dalot, Andres Pereira, Matic, Mata, Alexi and Lukaku. I think the front six, most people wouldn't have a massive issue with. I mean, I suppose, look, I mean, the big positive, I must say, is Scott McTominay starting a game in the Nou Camp. Who would have said that even a month ago, let alone a year ago? I mean, he was basically just a made-up youth player by Jose Mourinho, wasn't he? And here he is, starting in a game that everyone feels that he should be starting in. So, real positive about that. And I'm not going to lie and suggest anything different. I think it's absolutely fantastic for him to be involved in the game. And I hope he can step up to the plate. But Marcus, can you hear me?
Good evening. How are we doing, Governor? You all right?
I'm all right. You?
Excited. Very.
Happy that your favourite player, Phil Jones, is starting, I hope.
I think that's Drorty's favourite player at the minute, isn't it? Phil Jones FC. But
yeah, well, it's a surprise, I must admit. I'm really happy with the front three. I'm really happy to see Martial, Rashford and Lingard play, even though they've been terrible. I think that's our best front three. The midfield of McTominay, Fred and Pogba, well, people say, well, maybe Matic should have started, but I think Matic would have took Fred's position because McTominay doesn't play with the CDM. Fred does, so that's a positive. But the back four, I've got to say, I think Phil Jones playing, I don't really, Ashley Young coming back, I expected it, but I don't really get what Phil Jones is doing in the team.
Well, I mean, the only thing you could say is probably the maturity and experience that he brings to the first team. Some people would question that, but
yeah.
I think when you've got the choices, you've got Luke Shaw out tonight as well, so you don't want Rojo at left back after that performance against.
Yeah, not even on the bench, Rojo, which is
exactly.
Great news because he was crap.
So, I mean, the logical solution there is Ashley Young at left back, and it was either Delow or Jones at right back. So, I don't think Ollie wants to risk a young lad in such an important game tonight, that where the first goal is going to be crucial, and United really have just got to go for this tonight. Matic, I think he's left out. If he'd have been brought in, he would have slowed us down immensely. Yeah. And to be honest, Fred, he's been absolutely fantastic since he's come in there. So, pace up front as well. Martial, Rashford, no Lukaku tonight on the bench. Interesting the way it's going to pan out, I think, for me, this one.
Welcome to Dave Kennedy, and welcome to We Shall Rise Again, Glory Glory Man United, our two latest members of the United Stand Members Club. Remember, you can do that by clicking the join button, and you get access to our emojis, and you get a little badge next to your name. We've got a few members in the house already. Yikes, Jones right back, going to be like Bay, says Joanne's Grodo. I mean, let's talk about whether we can win this game or not. I mean, that's the most important thing. But if we are playing a 4-3-3, we know Luke Shaw wasn't going to play tonight. Ashley Young's been diabolical, but comes back in with the captain's armband. Delow has actually played quite a lot of football for Manchester United recently. He's got to feel pretty gutted that he is not playing this game of football tonight. And that Phil Jones... I mean, somebody just said there, Camille the Beast just said maybe Lindelof's going to play at fullback. Well, maybe he is, but that would be even more stupid. But you've got to. I mean, unless there's a weird formation, somebody's got to play at right back, and I just think it's quite surprising that Delow hasn't been fancied for this game, and Phil Jones has.
Do you know? I mean, he's such a young lad. I don't think Ollie would want to put that amount of pressure on someone who's only in his first year at Manchester United, still relatively young. He can be anything he wants to be. So I think if he had a bad performance tonight, and some fans, as they are, might turn against him if he costs us, or if it's a mistake that Barcelona score and put us out, they might blame him if he's involved. So I think I think Ollie has got to go with the maturity tonight. He really has. I wouldn't want to put the pressure on in this type of game on such a young lad like that, to be honest.
Welcome, Connor Brown. I was just taking a look there because they've got Sir Alex Ferguson on the pitch there. I hope Young has enough space in his pocket for Messi. Laugh out loud, says Sharath Kamath Fitness. And Alex Marmon says, I would have also started Delow instead of Young or Jones. Also, Rojo has definitely played his last game for United after his nightmare against West Ham. I thought Rojo looked overweight as well. I thought he looked well overweight. 3-5-2, Lingard and Young as the box-to-box wingers, says Ryan FTW. I mean, that's a possibility, Mark, because the formation may not be what we think it is. I mean, Phil Jones is a right back. I have a feeling that we will probably be playing with an adaptation of this team, where it may well be a 3-5-2 with Young and Lingard as the sort of auxiliary wingers, because that's what we did sort of against Paris. But BT have got it down as what we've got, which is Jones at right back.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways you can look at that team that's out there. You can look at it as the 3-5-2, the 4-3-1-2, the diamond in midfield. You can look at it as 4-3-3. I think during the game you're going to see two or three formations. During how we're going to cope without the ball. You'd expect Barcelona to have a lot of possession at home as well, so it could drop into a 5 in midfield. Martial could go left and just leave Rashford up top. Lingard obviously out on the right. You just don't know until it's going to kick off. We really don't know how it's going to go. But BT have lined it up as the 4-3-3, like you say, with Pogba left and McTominay right. But again, we've got 3 centre backs there in a back 4, so there is a possibility of going, the 3-5-2. It could go man for man at the back with Messi, Coutinho, and Suarez. You just don't know, mate. Until it starts, I wouldn't want to hazard a guess, to be honest.
Ed Woodward has said to everyone this is a comment from somebody called Ed Woodward, it's not the real one, we don't think. To everyone who sees this team and is happy, you're welcome. It's been a privilege to destroy this football club. Be patient, it will all be over soon. Stephen Willick says more chance of Jones or Young costing us a game. Robert Moore says I would put Delow where Lingard is. He's got great crossing. Ryan FTW says 3-5-2 Lingard and Young as the box-to-box wingers. And will we see Lindelof at right back instead of Jones, says Ryan FTW. Thanks for the contribution, Dawid Zariki. Chloe Jenkins, Ollie might have chosen Jones thinking the shark might bully Delo. Nothing to lose playing Delo, disgrace using Jones, says Stephen Willocks. Luke Skywalker, Messi, Suarez, Coutinho versus Jones, Smalling and Young. Oh, God. And Chris Joseph, I would rather have Lindelof at right back. And Mark, I've betted 15 quid on United to win, says Son Goku Ian 97. Anything gaming says, evening Mark, how are we all? We're good, I think. And Nathan Brown says, Jones and Smalling both on the right, God help us. Are you surprised about Martial starting, says Henrik. We'll come back to that. Jones in to do a job on Messi, says Andrew Staunton. And maybe, yeah. Well, I got to be honest with you, and it sort of feeds nicely into what I was going to say next, everybody, and Marcus as well. My expectations for the game, well, we'll talk about that in a minute, but I am surprised that Martial's starting. I thought that Martial played... And he's arguably my favourite player at Manchester United, but I don't hide behind that. You know, I know some people do. Oh, he's my boy, so I'm never going to criticise him. Bollocks. He was shit on Saturday, and he is my favourite player, but he was shit on Saturday. So I'm surprised he's starting today, because I thought Lukaku wasn't as bad as him. But I'm happy he's starting, because my favourite front three, and I don't think he's been doing it enough, is Lingard, Rashford and Martial. Funnily enough, Lingard and Rashford have been shitter than Martial has for longer. So, to me, tonight is a big 90 minutes, Marcus. Not just because it's Barcelona in the Nou Camp, but I actually think it's going to tell us a lot about this team. A lot about this team. I said last night that we lack leaders. And tonight, if I see heads dropping and poor performances again, then I think there's got to be big questions asked about this team. They've got to go out there. I'm not going to say they've got to go and win. They could do that. But I can't be seeing another crap performance from Lingard or Rashford or Martial. They've got to go and put in a performance tonight.
No, definitely. And you would expect that if Barcelona score, you want to see a reaction from our big game players. You know, you want to see them lift the likes. So say we go 1-0 down in the first 10 minutes, you want to see the likes of De Gea, Smalling, Jones, Pogba, lift the new lads and the young lads up. Don't let their heads drop. And it's going to be a big night to see what some of these players are made of tonight. It's going to be a massive test for them. They're going to be chasing the ball an awful lot, but in order to counteract that, United have got to do what they didn't do at Old Trafford. They've got to press high. When we pressed in the second half, high up the pitch, Barcelona couldn't deal with it. They did not like it at all. They like to have time on the ball. So United have got to get in their faces tonight, rough them up a bit, treat it like a Premier League game, really. Just play how you would play in the Premier League. Get in their faces and hurry them on the ball. It's as simple as that. It's a lot of legwork, of course it is. But these boys are supposed to be fit now after 3.5 months with Ollie. They're getting fitter day by day, every training session. So there's no excuses tonight.
No, there isn't. Sorry, people. I was just trying to show everybody off that I'm actually in my United Stand tracksuit today. Look, I've got my tracksuit bottoms on. And I've got the tracksuit top on, so I've got all the gear. No idea. Remember, you can get your United Stand merch now. Link in the video description for that. I was a stretching as well. Welcome to Raymond Mugarad and welcome to Salah Said Salah, the latest new members of the United Stand Club. Ricky916, the Herrera situation is a bigger problem than just losing a player for free. Why would any player want to come to a club that treats one of their more loyal players like crap? The board is a huge problem. I think you're right there. I mean, it's probably not the time for it, but I do think you're right. And the Perseverer says, had to go with Martial, Lingard and Rashford. If Jones and Smalling are our crossers, love the midfielder and attack, no defenders going forward. And Sharath Kamath fitness. Barcelona don't actually have a formation other than the back four. They roam everywhere. We need to have the best performances ever to get through. And he's used the pink glove emoji, which I think is obviously in relation to David De Gea. How do you feel about this game, everybody? I know how Marcus feels about it, but I'm going to get his thoughts. But mine are very this. If you're asking me what the result's going to be, and I've got to say it with some conviction, United will lose this game. If you're asking me, can Manchester United win it? Of course they can. But I feel that we're going to get one of two performances tonight. We're going to get a really bad United performance where they drop their heads and they get embarrassed, or they're going to fight and not get embarrassed. Marcus?
Well, do you know what? I actually think United could do it, and I think there's a couple of reasons. the away form as one. Obviously what happened in Paris as well. I think it's got to be a similar performance to the PSG game about a month ago now. So I think United can do it. You never write United off in these situations. I tend to think that we play better when our backs are against the wall.
Yeah.
We are, if the game was played on paper, we'd lose. I mean, probably 7, 8 of those players in that Barcelona team would waltz right into our team. So on paper, we should lose. But, this is a Champions League game, placed at semi-finals at stake. If you can't raise your game for that and look at what a mouth-watering tie a semi-final could be, then, there are serious issues. But I do fancy United to come through this. I really do. I think we'll win the game. I'm not quite 100% if we'll go through, though.
New member, welcome to Demco. And David Sariki says, hey Mark, I think we're doing a 3-4-3 with Jones as a CDM, McTominay and Fred as centre midfielders, Pogba as CAM. What are your thoughts? I'll be stunned. I'll tell you what, if that's the top answer, I'll give you the money myself, because I cannot see. That would be way too. We've got to defend. I know people will say park the bus nonsense and this, that, and the other. We are playing in the new camp against a team that will have probably at least 70% possession. So we are going to have to defend. I can't imagine we do a 3-4-3. I think we're going to have to be set up to hit them on the break. That's what we're going to have to do. I think, like Reece Francis says, maybe it's a 3-5-2. It ain't a 3-5-2. It's a 5-3-2. We're not playing with 3 at the back. It's just not going to happen. We will be playing quite defensive. But it's interesting, isn't it? Because the one thing I think is really important, and I keep saying this, Marcus, is I back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's the right man to be the manager of Manchester United, but I haven't given any guarantees with it. He could well end up being a yes man who took the job because he was so desperate to take it, who is well in with a lot of the crap old players and is going to make bad decisions. That could be the case. But on the other hand, he could be the manager I hope he's going to be, where he's going to clear out everybody in the summer, he's going to get some leaders in and we're going to build again. And I hope that is going to happen. But what I was going to say is that the selection of Phil Jones, the selection of Ashley Young, which I think are the two that probably annoy people the most, they don't pick themselves. They don't pick themselves. The manager picks them. So I think of course, I don't agree with either of those players being picked, but the risk element of that lies with the manager, and so I hope he gets it right. I hope he gets it right.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you look at that back line tonight, and I think the only person that could probably a lot of people would make a case for is Delone, because he is an exciting player. I don't think anyone would want to make a case for Rojo after the game against West Ham at all. So you look at the 3 available for the fullback / wing-back positions, and you think to yourself, well, really, you got Young, Jones and Delone for a right back and left back. Which 2 do you go with? I think if you're chasing the game and you're looking for a bit of pace, a bit of trickery, balls in the box, then you go with Delone. If you want to hopefully have a solid back line that's communication and has got experience in these types of games, then you've got to go with what he's done tonight. So it's a bit of a catch-22, I think, for Ollie at the minute. You want to see the young lads out there and see how they perform, but then again, you look at what's at stake and you don't want to look back on this game after 90 minutes thinking, what if? So I agree with what he's done tonight. I think experience is probably going to be key. All these players are going to need to keep a cool head as well for the 90 minutes.
Yeah, that's a big factor as well, isn't it? Chris T says, hi Mark, sorry I'm late. What's the deal with Young on the pitch again? This makes no 3-4-3 formation. Again, somebody else saying that. Well, maybe you're going to be right with the 3-4-3 formation, but I'm intrigued. There's a few things that intrigue me about that team. I think the midfield 3 is very interesting because whatever anybody says about Barcelona, is it a vintage Barcelona side? I don't think they'll win the Champions League. Whether they knock us out or not, I don't think they'll win the Champions League. But Fred, Pogba, McTominay, if 2 of two out of those three can have a really good game, I think it sets us up for the rest of the season, because midfield is where games are won and lost. So I'm very excited to see how they do. It's interesting from Pogba's point of view, because if he is looking to go to Real Madrid, then he should be performing in games like this. Fred's point of view, a lot of people were starting to think he was a flop, and he's suddenly playing very, very well. So what an opportunity it is again for him tonight to be starting in a game at the Nou Camp. And Scott McTominay, a lot of people, myself included, thought he'd be playing for Preston North End next season, and suddenly he's starting, and deservedly so. So I'm very excited to see what those three players do. And then you get yourself to that front three that we've mentioned, Marcus, and I like that front three. I like Lingard, Rashford, and Martial. But there's a lot of eyes on them today. They've got to produce, because they've been so poor lately.
Yeah, they have. They've been poor for a couple of months now. I mean, all right, they've all had niggling injuries, and they've all been out for a bit of time as well. And if reports are to be believed, Rashford's been playing through injury as well, but Martial's not been good for about 2 months. Lingard probably about 3 months. So big onus on them tonight. That's the preferred front three that we have. It's quick. It's semi-young. So I know Lingard's not as young as he was now, but still a fairly decent age. But that's the best front three that we have got at that club. So I'm glad that they're playing tonight. I really didn't want to see Sanchez tonight. Really didn't. I didn't think he would come waltzing straight back in. And Lukaku, I don't think this is the game for Lukaku. We need to hit Barcelona with pace, and that's something that Lukaku just doesn't use.
Well, that's the interesting thing, is that we're not going to have a lot on the ball. So what you need, as you said, is pace, directness, and Lingard, Rashford, and Martial may not be playing that well, but they do give us that. And to be honest with you, I mean, look, I'm as stunned as anybody that Phil Jones is starting, and I think it's an accident waiting to happen. And reality proves that. But on the other hand, the flip side of the coin is I'm really encouraged that he has stuck with three players that have been playing very, very badly, because I feel that was his best front three that he seemed to move away from, and he's gone back to it. So that encourages me. Eric Guerrero says, remember the last time Ollie put a centre-back at right-back? Eric Bailly. Yeah, well, let's see. And Imrano TV says, I would have preferred Darmian instead of Jones on the right. Well, I think Ollie's made his mind up about certain players, hasn't he? And I think that he is certainly one of those players, Darmian and Valencia as well. Valencia went on international duty, played for his country, comes back and he's injured again. I would rather play Valencia than Ashley Young, but we've got what we've got. We go with what we've got. There are a lot of rumours about the old boys at United, the players that were around when Ollie and Carrick were there, and they get preferential treatment. I would hope that is absolute bollocks, but because it's not going to make us win things. But as I said, these are Ollie's selections tonight. I'm sure if Phil Jones slips on his arse and costs us a goal, I'll be there at the front of the queue giving him criticism, because I've been there before, and I don't enjoy it, but it's a way of releasing the tension. But the manager's picked them, and that's the message I would get across, and so I hope it works.
Well, yeah, and I think some people would say that Darmian played better at centre back than he does at right back. So
yeah,
there's a case for that as well. And if Ollie wanted to put Darmian in at centre back, do you split up Smalling and Lindelof? No, I don't think you do. That's the centre back partnership. Eric Bailly is nowhere to be seen. No mention of him. I think
he's injured, yeah.
Yeah, no mention of him at all. So you got to wonder what these, the players, their futures at the club. I think a lot of these players now know that they're coming to the end of the line. If Ashley Young's the first teamer next season, if his name's on the team sheet, and I think it's terrible decision making, giving him a new contract.
I tell you what, though, somebody just said there, and I wanted to get your opinion on this and everyone else as well. Somebody said this is the end. And look, football opinion is football opinion. Somebody will say, stop being so negative, the game's not kicked off. That's a right opinion, because that's that person's opinion. But somebody else will be like, this team's shit, we're going to get embarrassed, we're just not making any progress. And that's a right opinion, because it's somebody's opinion. But I do feel that tonight is like that. It's like, let's say we draw 1-1. And we show a low in a fight and we get unlucky and we get knocked out. You can build on that. If we win, bloody hell, happy days, you can build on that. like I say, grind out a draw and just miss out. You can build on that. But poor performances from half the team again, embarrassed 3 or 4-0. That's the concern. And I think what we need from tonight, Marcus, look, obviously we want to go through, but what we do need from tonight is I'll accept, because it's a very hard game for us to win and we are massive underdogs. I would accept, a draw where we show great potential and fight, because you can work with that. What I don't want to walk out with is a bit like West Ham at the weekend. We should have lost that game, but obviously Barcelona are a lot better. If we lose this game 4-3, 4-5-0, then I don't know what we work with that, because that's too far away from where we need to be. And I know where I would put a lot of the blame. I think that we lack leaders in the dressing room, but Ollie needs something from this. You can't. He's done so well in his first 3 months, and then the last 3 or 4 weeks have been crap since he's been given the job. And you don't want to be going to Barcelona and getting humiliated in your first few weeks of the job. We need to get some momentum going.
Do you know what? I honestly believe that if we go out there tonight and get absolutely embarrassed, I'd be looking at these, the players that have been mentioned with going in the summer, and I would probably sit them down, like Pogba and De Gea and Herrera if he is injured, or if it's a contract situation, maybe even Martial, depending on what happens. I'd be sitting down with them and saying, look, are you going to play for this club or not? Because if your heart is not 200% in this club, then you can go, because the manager wants to work with people who want to be there, who want to play for Manchester United. You can't set a team up with individuals that are only interested in themselves and are thinking of other things, that are thinking beyond the summer, where they want to be and stuff like that. We've got to be playing. Ollie's got to have players in there that are 100% committed to him, that believe in him, and that want to play for the club. And until we get that, I don't see where it's, like that comment said just now, this is the end. I don't see where it's going to end, because, future transfer windows, you're never going to trust who you bring in, because are they there for the club or the money? It
is interesting. I mean, I can't move away from the fact that tonight is about what we did in Paris. This was our reward to get this game. T. Ballard says, Jones instead of Delo, Messi must be laughing. Kickoff is at 8 o'clock, so we're about 34 minutes away from that. Everyone wanted Ollie as coach. I didn't remember Cardiff, says David Pendleby. Look, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer could be an absolute disaster as a manager. Any United fan who doesn't at least consider that is ridiculously naive. There is no guarantees. Every interim manager who's ever been given the job has failed, and failed quite quickly. But I wanted him to get the job, like most of you did. And I wanted Mourinho to get the job because I thought he was going to win titles. And in 2 years' time, we might be going, we got it wrong again. We got it wrong. We should have gone all out for Pochettino. We went with sentiment. We went with the manager that started off well, and we got it wrong. And that could happen. Nothing wrong. There is something wrong with that if that happens, because we don't want it to happen. But it could be a reality. Of course it would. But that's why I think it's important that tonight that we don't go and get beat 4 or 5-0, and we actually start to show potential. Because you know what? We might be in the Emmerdale Cup next year. We might be. I mean, Arsenal's result last night, lucky or not, that's a big 3 points for them. And we've got some tough games coming up in the league. Everton at the weekend, Man City next week. And this isn't far off. I mean, I was just thinking that as well. Who are we missing? Everyone says, I think there is this sort of myth that we're a weakened team tonight. Who are we missing? Luke Shaw. I love Luke Shaw, but a lot of people don't rate Luke Shaw. Ander Herrera, well, a lot of people have said we don't need him, so forget about him. Matic is crap. Who are we missing? I can't think of anyone, Marcus. No. That's the whole point. There is almost this myth that we are missing, that's a make-do team. It isn't. It isn't anymore, because people want rid of Herrera. Luke Shaw's probably the only guaranteed starter that we're missing tonight, and that's not enough to make a massive difference.
No, it's not. I mean, the only thing you get with Luke Shaw is the overlap down the left-hand side and probably 3 or 4 more crosses into the box during the game. But, it's this team. Ollie these are the cards that Ollie's been dealt with. It's all right, people saying this team is shit and this team is not good enough. We know that, but we can't do nothing until the summer. Everyone's hands is tied. So we've just got to get on with it and make the best out of it. And to be fair to Ollie, I think that's what he's trying to do. The results have showed that. I mean, he's lost, 2 Premier League games, 2 Cup games. So I think we're on the right path. I really do. I just think the guy just needs absolute investment in the summer. He has to. If this board, and I don't really think it matters whether it's Pochettino we brought in, Ollie, or anyone else. The problem still lies there because it's still the same board. So, if we've got the same troubles with this manager as what we do with Mourinho, then everyone knows where the blame will lie with the transfers upstairs.
Adil Patel says we're missing new signings, Mark, which is right. Marcus just said it as well. And we can't do anything about that, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can't do anything about that. And, whatever the immediate issue is, whether it's Barcelona tonight or it's the league position over the next few weeks, the real, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer isn't getting sacked at the end of the season if we don't get top 4. Never in a million years, that's not going to happen. So the real test is the summer. It's like, who's he going to keep, who's he going to move on? And then the next season and the first few games of the season, what's his best 11? Are we still going to see